Now, the President's announcement of the new cabinet has raised some concerns about political motivations rather than a focused effort to address the country's pressing issues. Despite the rhetoric about delivery, there are indications that the selections may be driven more by political calculations than a genuine desire to tackle the critical problems facing the nation, such as issues with crime, transport, energy and employment. There are many new names in the cabinet, and much has already been said in various publications about the suitability of some appointments. The Road Freight Association has frequent engagements with a number of ministers and their departments. However, the prime focus lies with transport, employment, labour, trade, industry and competition and small business development. In this regard, the association is sorry to see the changes to the whole ministerial team at the Department of Transport. Let's bring in some reaction. We're joined by Road Freight Association CEO Gavin Kelly this evening. A very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. You've expressed some discomfort around the changes to the ministerial team in the Transport Department as the new Minister of Transport, Barbara Creecy, finds her feet in this department. Talk to us about some of your big concerns.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening to all the viewers tonight. I mean, one of our greatest concerns is that we were just starting to get some nice traction with the Department of Transport around a number of issues. We all know about the crisis in logistics in the country. The department had identified a number of causes. It was getting parts of Transnet across to report directly to them. It looked like we were now on a good road, on the right way, getting things really sorted out. And now there's a leadership change. And leadership is very important. And Minister Chikunga and Deputy Minister Mkhulelo were really interacting nicely with the various associations, the various sectors involved in transport, and it looked like we were actually going to solve this. Probably not immediately, but there were the right moves being made and the right understandings. And now we have this leadership change. And our concern is going to be, as we've seen in the past, that the new ministers coming in, the new leadership, are going to take some time to find their feet, to understand what the important things are, why there are bottlenecks and hurdles, and it's going to slow down this whole process.
Let's talk a little bit about these bottlenecks and hurdles, which of course you speak of, and also speaking about how perhaps the timing is a bit off because there's very little time to now reevaluate and research possible alternative solutions because a lot of work has been done.
Yeah, well, it always seems as if when the new management team comes in, there's a whole process of standing back and people saying, well, I first want to find out what's happening. Let's do some research here. Let's make sure we actually have identified the causes that have brought us to where we are. So we can't lose this momentum. The National Logistics Crisis Committee has been running for almost a year now. The President brought that together. There's one to do with crime as well, as we know, and there's one to do with energy. So we don't really want to lose that momentum. We need the new leadership to carry on, to pick up that cudgel and to run with that. And that's really our concern.
Yeah. You made mention of Transnet. I mean, some strides have been made there. Improvements have been noted with port performance, and there are still conditions concerns that the conditions at the port will remain challenging for the year ahead. What sort of impact will this have, do you think, as you witness the transition, that it will have in terms of the country's links to the global market?
Well, that's a vitally important part of the picture, isn't it? So one of the things that's going to happen, there's going to be new leadership. There are going to be public servants who have been serving in those departments for a while, so we're concerned there could be a clash there. We know there are non-ANC ministers coming into position, so there can be an ideological clash there. And we need to ensure both customers outside of South Africa and businesses in South Africa that our logistics is going to continue to run seamlessly, as efficiently as possible. So, for example, those discussions which have been going on for some time around private participation at the ports, running private piers or running piers that are integrating government and private services, that we actually get these running, that we get the railway lines running as we need them to run. So the important thing is ensuring business inside and outside of South Africa, that business is going to keep improving. Our logistics frameworks are going to keep improving. We're going to get people to work, and more importantly, our businesses can grow, which means employment.
I believe you're hoping to engage with Minister Barbara Creecy and her team as they get on board and find their feet. What do you think will be some of the important discussions that will need to be had with the team as you try and ensure the momentum and the element of continuation?
Well, I think the first thing is to allay fears that it's going to be adversarial. That always seems to be the challenge between private sector and government sector. It isn't a you and us or a you and they or them. It's a togetherness. It's all of us trying to achieve the same goal. That's the first thing. Secondly is to help the minister understand what priorities are, and there's definitely no argument that there are various sectors or modes in transport that have their priorities. So, for example, looking at compliance, stamping out or getting rid of or reducing the corruption and those who don't want to play by the rules, which damages all of those companies that try to play by the rules, and then highlighting the quick wins, what can be fixed now and what is going to create eventually this intermodal, seamless transport type villages that will ensure this country actually performs on the global market.
Yeah, there's also a lot of concern. I mean, you touched on it very briefly as you speak about how, you understand that it's a new government formation, but one government formation that has been regarded as very fragile. How much of an impact do you think that the stability of such government will have on the transport sector, as you hope that the continuation of these talks is productive and sees some progress over the next couple of years?
Well, I think, Mpho, one has to hope that personalities don't become the be-all and end-all, that somebody wants to make a name for themselves irrespective of what has been done and what good is there. One can't turn around and say that everything before this government of national unity was bad and now only from here going forward it's going to be good. That's not true. There are many, many things that are actually have already been seeded that need to grow, that need nurturing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is understanding the priorities, and we've got a lot of things that we need to get right, but we need to fix the core foundational issues first. So let's get our ports sorted. Let's get those mineral railway lines working and exporting and doing what they need to do. So picking the important building blocks and getting that eventually to create where we need to go. That's going to be the challenge, is moving away from emotional or ideological positions and understanding the greater good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for weighing in on the discussion. Joined there by Road Freight Association CEO Gavin Kelly, speaking to some of the concerns as the transport sector ministry gets a shake-up.